Yesterday, we saw an analyst and an assistant coach from Canada's women's soccer team sent home from the Paris Games, and the head coach, Bev Priestman, volunteered to sit out today's opener against New Zealand. And all of this over the revelations a drone was flown over the New Zealand team practice. And this scandal, it's making international headlines all before the opening ceremony tomorrow night. So let's bring in Brock University's Taylor McKee. He is an assistant professor of sport management. Good morning, Taylor. I mean, we are asking our viewers what they think about this story, many of them even expressing frustration. So I'm wondering, what do you think? How damaging is this to the women's soccer team ahead of the game today?
It's an excellent question, and ultimately we won't know the full extent of the damage for about a week or so until we know what the actual punishments are. We should know a little bit more today. Certainly the result of today's game is going to be cast into question regarding whether or not there's actually going to be points awarded, as the New Zealand team has requested to FIFA that no points be awarded to Canada if they are able to win this game. And truly the stakes are quite high here for the Canadian national soccer team, who has experienced a very tumultuous past 3 years or so, and this is certainly 2 steps forward, 1 step back for a program that has been no stranger to scandal. And certainly right now, it is the risks far outweigh the benefits for whatever was gained from the sheer minutes of footage they obtained via drone footage.
Let's talk about what this investigation is going to look like. What will the Olympic Committee be doing to try and figure out how this happened in the first place, and really who is responsible?
I think right now, I would say the Canadian national team should be as forthcoming as possible, because it would be very unusual for this to be the first time that such a practice was done. And the relationship between the Canadian national team and the New Zealand national team is actually a very strangely intertwined one, where we have John Herdman, former coach of the women's national team, former coach of the men's national team, also coming from the New Zealand program as well, and rumors around John Herdman interviewing for the men's national team before he took the job at Toronto FC. Certainly there are a lot of connections to the New Zealand team, and you wonder whether or not that allowed the New Zealand team to know that they were going to be surveilled. A lot of questions. Right now, the best policy on the national team's part would be to be as forthcoming as possible, because if this is a policy of the national team for a long time now, FIFA will find out. I mean, if you saw how quickly they found out what the details of this current situation, they will find out the others in short order as well.
Yeah, and we know a lot of people are also looking for those answers. I'd also like to ask you about the head coach, Bev Priestman. So she's removed herself from the game today. Some people saying, well, she should remove herself from the team altogether because it falls on her. What do you think of that move and what that could look like going forward?
Ultimately, there's really no good options here for Priestman. I mean, if she didn't know about this, that would make very little sense. I think that really does beg her belief that the idea that people wearing that crest on their chest would be acting on the team's behalf without the head coach knowing. Now, any success had is going to have sort of question marks surrounding it, and failure would come even more with even more jeopardy. I think that, again, there will need to be extreme forthcomingness here needed from the national team to preserve the reputation, which is already now in disrepair internationally, but also in Priestman's job as well. I would think it absolutely is possible that there's a new team head coach coming out of these Olympics, barring some sort of forthcomingness that displays that Priestman was somehow blameless. But again, it's hard to imagine how that would be, because ultimately, again, the buck stops with the head coach.
Certainly does. Okay, Taylor McKee is an assistant professor of sport management at Brock University. Taylor, thank you for taking the time to speak with us this morning on such an important story that a lot of people are following closely.
Thank you so much for having me, Courtney.